Hello everyone, this is Jack Kopanski, managing editor of Pit and Quarry and co-host of Drilling Deeper. On today's episode of Drilling Deeper, we are joined by two members of Weir to talk about the latest going-ons in the company. We are joined by Peter Brewitt, the Global Product Manager for Sand and Washing Plants, and Magnus Skörvald, the Global Product Manager for Crushers. In this episode, the two talk about the current trends they're seeing in the sand and aggregate washing market in North America. They talk about how Weir is positioned in the market and its presence in the sand and aggregate market. We also get into the latest equipment and technology developments the company has to offer, including Enduron screens, Sandmaster wash plants, Next Intelligence solutions, and much, much more. Finally, we talk a little bit about what Weir is doing in the sustainability realm and some of the initiatives they have in that regards, as well as how some of those sustainability initiatives are driving development of their equipment and technology. So without further ado, let's hand it over to Peter and Magnus. Welcome into this episode of Drilling Deeper. Today we are joined by two representatives from Weir. We have Peter Brewitt, Global Product Manager of Sand and Washing Plants, and Magnus Skörvald, Global Product Manager for Crushers. Gentlemen, welcome into the show.
Thank you very much.
To give a quick rundown of Peter and Magnus, Peter was born and raised in Ireland. He has a mining engineering background and has been in the mining and construction business for over 37 years. He's worked with Borrowed Longyear, Sandvik, and CDE before joining Weir in 2017. Magnus has professional experience in crushing and screening and comminution. He has been in the comminution industry for the last 18 years. He's worked in application and technical support roles, sales, business line manager roles, sales development positions, and in regions like the Middle East and Europe, as well as global roles. Currently, he's the Global Product Manager for Crushers within Weir. So, gentlemen, thank you again for joining us today. Looking forward to hearing what's going on at Weir and some insights you guys have to share. Obviously, your company's very involved in the sand and aggregate market. So, we'll just start by getting kind of a quick outlook for the North American sand and aggregate market. So, from about a quarter of the way into the year here, what are some of the current trends in the sand and aggregate market in North America that Weir and the two of you have been keeping your eye on?
Well, we've been seeing quite strong growth, actually, in North America, particularly in the sand side of things. I think that's being driven largely by urbanization and the need for recycling, particularly recycling of aggregates and recycling of construction demolition waste. There's been a fall off, and it's not just in North America, but globally, in the availability of natural sand. So a lot of people are moving towards manufactured sand, which suits for Magnus as well. From that material has to be crushed down before it gets to my end of things, where we wash it and bring it into spec for suitable use in concrete and asphalt and the likes.
Yeah, I think it's been revitalized the last couple of years. I think it's a growing market, and we can see that there's a further need for expansion, which suits us well. And like Peter said, manufactured sand is on the rise, and so you need to take stone and crush it down to sand.
Yeah. So can you kind of talk about how you guys will work with customers to solve some of the problems they have? I know you mentioned moving toward manufacturing sand, but when it actually comes to the application of it, how does Weir, once someone installs some Weir equipment, how do you guys work with them to help solve the problems they have?
I think we have the opportunity to look more of a holistic view. We're not looking at one equipment, we're more looking into the complete process. And I think that's one of our strengths. So we have the end-to-end. So it's more of optimizing whatever product they're actually looking for the most, and that can change over the years or whatever applications they're then selling into, if it's asphalt or concrete, different mix of materials needed. So I think that will be our strength, looking holistic, because we have the full chain.
And it's not just after they install the equipment, Jack, it's long before that. We sit with them and we aim not just to sell a piece of equipment, but a solution. Right? And we will look at whatever problems they are experiencing, and where we can, with our knowledge and our application knowledge, can help them to solve those problems and overcome the issues that they're having.
Absolutely, for sure. So can you guys kind of talk a little bit about, or give an overview of Weir's sand and aggregates market?
Right. To be close to our customers, we are working through a distribution network. I think one of Weir's strengths are our closeness to our customers, but as a company we're more focusing on direct business with the mining industry. So within particularly sand and ag, we are working through a distribution channel to have that intimacy with our end customers.
Absolutely.
Because most of our customers would need support, and when they need support, they want it quick and close, right? So they're not waiting for some global person to fly in, right? So you need to have boots on the ground, and I think that's our route to market.
It is, and we have a history of innovation in this industry for over 150 years now. So this is not something new to us.
Right.
Our products have all developed over the years, to evolved, should I say, rather than developed, to suit the changing requirements in the industry. Service, and particularly aftermarket service, is a very strong part of our makeup. So we have strong demands on our dealerships and distributors to provide service for us as well as we go forward. We have a reputation for being one of the strongest in the market on service. So that's where we want to keep going.
Yeah, and you guys are in kind of maybe not so much unique is the right word, but you guys are in a nice place where you have a portfolio that kind of that spans the entire flow sheet. Can you kind of talk about the importance of having that wide range of offerings?
We do, and it's absolutely right from the production phase, where SCO is with us here at the show. They're supplying the ground engagement tools, the blades on the front of the buckets, the teeth on the buckets. Right,
the buckets
through
themselves?
The buckets themselves, indeed. Right through to the processing of the materials, through the crushing, the screening, the washing, removal of fines, down to even the sludge treatment, so the water recycling through thickeners and the treatment of sludge through filter presses or decanter centrifuges as appropriate, right through to the tailings management. Mm-hmm. So it's a complete portfolio, as you say.
And I would like to add to that I think that is part of the Weir strategy to be able to influence all those parts, all those touch points throughout the process, to try to ensure that we manage water, we manage power, electricity, whatever. Yeah. So I think that is part of us being able to have those touch points across the value chain. I think that's part of the strength of Weir.
For sure. Can you kind of talk about, for those that might be listening that sort of are hearing about Weir maybe for the first time or are somewhat familiar but are maybe learning more about the company, what is it that Weir does and that you guys do at the company that helps differentiate yourself from others in the same market you guys are in?
One of the big differentiators is the service network again. I mean, Weir started off as predominantly a pump company, pumping sand slurry and mineral slurries, and we've really evolved from there. That we've expanded into the comminution area, so we're concentrating on the reduction of the material right from the production phase, be that in sand and aggregate or mining, because we cover both industries very, very deeply, right down to, as I said, the tailings. So the whole way through, we're touching every point of the production process.
Mm-hmm. And I think hard to say that we're much different than others, apart than from our service, our closeness to our customers. I mean, at the end of the day, the type of products we're having would be a couple of other tier one suppliers as well would have similar equipment. Mm-hmm. But then it comes down to the end-to-end, the process, the understanding or trying to understand our customers' needs and how we can then tweak the process to help and support them to get their most sellable product or most valuable product, whatever that would be.
Mm-hmm. The most important thing for us really is to sit with the customer at the earliest possible opportunity and identify, first of all, what his needs are and where his problem points are, so that we can work with them in partnership to develop the best solution possible for them. Once we get that solution nailed down and we get the products installed, we've got at the moment around 150 locations around the world where these products are not just serviced but also stocked. So we've got parts availability, service availability, and that's where our reputation is strongest at this point as well, is service.
And as you probably know, within crushing and screening, the good thing is that nothing is really wrong, but there can always be a better solution, right?
Absolutely.
And that there's so many factors that could be factored in there. And I think that is the discussion I think we're happy to take with our partners, customers, to try and see. I mean, again, local needs, local raw material, that would tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think we have the experience to help and support with that.
Well, experience, I think, is the key, Magnus, because, I mean, we've got such experience in the group now that a lot of the time the customers think they know what they want, and they have a fixed idea in their minds, but they may not have thought of other alternatives. And we're in a position with the experience that we've got that we can suggest alternatives to them that they might not have thought about, and which in many cases can provide a superior solution to them at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you guys are sort of, or I should say you really are kind of positioning yourselves in a nice spot to offer those different options to customers by using brands like Warman pumps and Duron screens, Cavex cyclones, Linitex rubber hoses and sheets, and so on. So can you just kind of talk about being able to, obviously you do cover sort of start to end of the flow sheet, but also being able to offer such a wide range of quality products where, again, maybe a customer might not be thinking of a certain brand, but you're able to come to them and say, hey, check this out. This has had a lot of success. We're able to offer this, and, might want to give it a go.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, the Enduron name, the Warman name, have been known for many, many years. Warman is regarded as the world-leading pumps. The Enduron name has been probably up to now more known in the mining industry than in the construction side of things, sand and aggregate side of things. Magnus and another of our colleagues are in the process of changing that with the crushers, the new range of crushers that we're releasing and under the Enduron name, the new range of screens that have already released under the Enduron name. And on my side, the sand plants, we take all of those and put them together. We've got the Enduron screen, we've got the Linitex rubber, we've got the Cavex cyclones, we've got the Warman pumps, all together in one product, and the Linitex hoses as well.
Yeah.
So it's taking the world-leading brands and putting them all together into one, and putting together the whole package, really. So with the absolutely top-class, world-leading products.
Yeah, so to add on what Peter said, I think on the Enduron side, our HPGRs have been globally renowned within the mining industry. And then to catch up on that, I think we have tried to listen to our customer base, so try to incorporate and looking into the crystal ball, of course, what is the future, where do we want to be, when the project's ready, we release a new product, where do we think the market is going? And we have already done that on the screen side, so we both have the Elite and the Orbital screens, and now we're doing that on the jaws and cones as well, really trying to focus on what have we identified, not only from a productivity point of view, but also the safety aspects and environmental, that we can lift it to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, there's certainly a lot going on with the Enduron brand. Obviously, the Sandmaster, the Next Intelligence solutions you guys are offering. You talked a little bit about the HPGRs. Can you kind of talk about what advancements have been made on the crusher side with Enduron?
Right. So our jaw crusher range, we have now tried to make it a complete portfolio. We have looked more, and like I said before, on the environmental side of things. We looked at oil flows and what do we really need, so we don't put a lot of oil in there. We just need to replace for no good use. Looking at power utilization, and then really push button control. Right. So to remove maintenance needs and to get their operators into, let's say, difficult positions, where we could now do a push button control on settings, for instance. So I think that's what we want to achieve on the jaw crushers. Then on the cone crushers, we have two different versions. We have the more older style Siemens type, and we also have the pedestal style. And both of them would have a common automation platform, upgraded sensor kits, and a complete new HLPU unit. So again, looking at where do we think the market is going, listen to our customers on what they think we should improve, and we wanted to take those steps to evaluate and lift our current product portfolio into the Enduron brand.
And the liners.
And of course, thank you, Peter. So to ensure then productivity, we have then also added ESCO as the wear parts, and then we're utilizing all their experience in wear materials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're saying it's an Enduron with an ESCO inside.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like it. That's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
So looking at another development that I know you guys are very proud of, the Sandmaster wash plants, can you kind of discuss the features and benefits that the Sandmaster can provide?
The biggest thing really that we look at on these, Jack, is the fines recovery, the fine sand recovery. We're trying to replace here older technologies like bucket wheels and sand screws, which, listen, they do a job, but they're old, they're inefficient, and typically you're losing 10 to 15% of your saleable material over the back weir of the equipment, and that's going out to pond. Generally speaking, those ponds then need to be dug out, which is an extra expense, and it keeps going. So our big thing there is to recover that additional sand. So we're doing that through the Cavex cyclone technology, which is, again, originally designed for the mining industry, so really high spec, and we've adapted it slightly for the Sandmasters. So again, with the Cavex cyclones, they are known to be and proven to be the most efficient on the market. We've got one of the thickest liners on the market, which is not bonded, so it can just drop in. It's easy maintenance, easy changing of parts. They're fed by the Warman pumps. We generally use our WGR range of pumps, which are the top premium range that we have, slurry pumps. And that's all the material is that all of the parts that touch the sand slurry are rubber lined. So to avoid any abrasion damage on the plant. And of course then we have the Enduron screen, the dewatering screen, which is a market leading screen, the design of which sits with our original Linatex brand, and which has been copied all around the world. So most of the other suppliers in the world have very similar designs.
Right, right.
But and we now are also fitting our own brand screen media in these. So it's all about recovering the additional sand. We can, for example, with a sand screw, recovering up to about 15% extra sand. You're talking about then a very quick return on investment. So I mean, the return on investment on a typical sand screw, say that's treating about a couple of 100 tons an hour, can be less than a year.
Wow,
which is huge in anybody's language.
Yeah.
And it's good for the environment, right? So
Absolutely.
we're not filling a pond, we're actually using the material that is created already.
Yeah.
So we're just ensuring we have a good extraction.
Sure, and the cyclone, the Cavex cyclones actually already use less water than most of the competition. So, and we're actually in the process of we have developed a new range of the Cavex cyclones, the Cavex 2, we're calling it, and those will be incorporated onto our Sandmasters in the near future as well. They use even less water, so again, more, and we can use a lower power motor as well for that. So happily servicing the sustainability side of the business, right?
Yeah.
So less water, less power. So customers are happy with that too.
I say sustainability and efficiency definitely seem kind of top of mind, and that definitely seems to be the right direction to be going.
For sure.
Excellent.
And I think we all gain on that because at the end of the day, it's a resource we need to be catered for. So I think it's part of our core values. So. Yeah.
Now, Peter, you hit on one thing that I think has been very interesting that we've been following at Pit and Quarry, and I'm sure you guys have been seeing in the industry as well. You talk about, wanting to use the Sandmaster to sort of replace older equipment, get in, again, that efficiency, that sustainability aspect. What have you been seeing, or what have you been maybe hearing from customers, potential customers, as far as that a sort of shift away from that old mindset the aggregate industry has had for a long time of, this is how we've done it for 100 years, this is how we're going to do it for 100 more, maybe some stubbornness to adapt to new equipment and technology. Have you been kind of seeing a sizable shift in that, where people are more willing to try new equipment?
Yes. There is still a lot of residual stubbornness, as you put it, in the market, that this is the way we've been doing it. We don't see any real reason to change. The more progressive companies, and we're seeing this right across the board in terms of size of company, it's not just the big multinationals, it's also the small guys as well.
Yep.
Some of them are far more technologically advanced in their thinking than you might give them credit for.
Yeah.
And they're saying, we haven't looked at this too much, but that's a really good idea. We can recover more sand. We can possibly get a second product here that we didn't have before.
Right.
Some of these sandmasters can produce two products simultaneously, a coarse and a fine, and we can blend those as required. But it has been the case in several of the customer sites where we've sold these, where we've actually not just given a product which allows them a quick return on investment, but which also gives them a second stream of revenue,
Right.
which they weren't maybe expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I think that shift has been ongoing for a couple of years. It's not looking at tons passing, it's more looking at the product split. Okay, so what is their customer asking for? Can we do more of that most asked for product, which would give us the biggest return? They want to change their process, and they want to fine tune their plants. Back in the days, it was my plant's doing 300. 300 what? No one knew. Right? It's doing 300. Now they're more specific, and I think that is driving the market into more looking at the end-to-end process, because where can we tweak to get more of that sellable product that we earn the most money? And then if we're looking at then increasing the total recovery, again, the whole process, drilling, blasting, whatever, if you can sell more of we extract, then of course everyone's a winner.
Absolutely.
but back to your original question, Jack, yes, North America probably is a little bit behind the rest of the world in terms of the adoption of the cyclone-based technology, but over the last 10 years in particular, we've seen quite a big shift. And this is why we have not, as Weir, we have not really focused too much on the sand market in North America, but that's why we now are having a major drive. That's why we're here, introducing the Sandmaster. We've got a number of customers that are lined up to take these now and are ready to drive on.
Yeah.
And I think that Weir as a brand has been a little bit unknown possibly within sand and ag, and I think again we're here to re-emphasize that, and we are here to support comminution.
Yeah. Gentlemen, you've been so generous with your time. I really appreciate it. Just one more question here for you. We've talked about it a little bit already, but really diving into some of the sustainability initiatives that Weir is working on. Can you just kind of tell me about how the company is addressing sustainability in its product offerings? Again, I know we kind of mentioned some of the reclamation of fines and sands and stuff like that, but can you tell me a little bit more about, the focus of sustainability at Weir?
Yeah, I think it's... If you look at our strategy, I mean, that's definitely we want to go where we would like then to reduce power consumption,
Water consumption,
water usage.
Water usage, yes.
Yeah, and if we look into the equipment base, I mean, if we just look at the equipment, where it has its in portfolio, it is to reduce, let's say, inefficiencies in the comminution stages, right? So we want to, if we look on certain mills, for instance, we can reduce the power consumption by a factor of 10 almost by crushing more and then using
HPGRs.
Yeah, so within our portfolio, I think we can put together a flow sheet that can touch all those points, and that is a big change. I think we are, as a company, well invested. And I think we're talking to some of the major players to make it happen. At the end of the day, we need to convince our customers that is the right approach. And I think that the Enduron brand names are giving confidence together with the Warmans, the Lanatex, whatever, right? So our product portfolio is a tier 1 product portfolio, and I think we're getting through to the market.
I think as well, we're trying to convince the customers, particularly on the sand and ag side, to do the right thing.
Right.
I mean, we have taken certain actions, like even on the Sandmasters, we've reduced the power requirement. We've upped the efficiency of the motors. We're only using IE4 efficiency motors now, which is something that was driven by legislation in Europe. Motors above 75 kilowatts must be of IE4 standard. We've taken the approach that, no, we'll do it right across the board. All of our pump motors will be of IE4 efficiency going forwards. We're moving, as I said, to the more efficient cyclones that can take a higher concentration of feed, so less water. And these are all key issues for the environment at the moment.
And let's not forget, we talked about maintenance before. I mean, now when we're designing, everything about 20 kilos would have a defined lifting point. I mean, we're really trying to live the core values, right? Safety first, environment is very high on the agenda. And I think that is coming across all companies sooner or later, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to attract people to the industry as well. Let's not forget that. We're an industry that's not so sexy all the time, right?
Right.
So we need to attract people into and then everyone's not Hulk Hogan, so we need to ensure we can maintain it in a safe way.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much again for your time. I think this has been a lot of great insight. For those that want to know more about Weir, what you guys are doing, how can they find out more about the company?
The website,
on
I would guess. Yeah.
Our global website.
We're there. We're there.
Excellent. Peter, Magnus, thank you again for your time. Enjoy the rest of Ag 1, and best of luck the rest of the year for Weir.
Thank you
very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Peter Brewitt and Magnus Skörvald from Weir for joining us on this episode. A lot of great insight from those two. Be on the lookout for our next episode in 2 weeks, as we will be sharing more of the conversations we had on the Ag 1 show floor. You won't want to miss it.